The legality of nuclear power is in the spotlight as campaigners prepare for Saturday's referendum. At the same time, more legislative seats will be up for recall votes. Ukraine's president heads to the U.S. following a Trump-Putin meetup last week. Plus, Team Taiwan heads home from the World Games after racking up several wins and breaking a record. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Liao. A referendum on nuclear power is in the spotlight this week as people are set to vote on the issue this Saturday. Anti-nuclear activists have questioned the legality of the power source in Taiwan, while the pro-nuclear camp says it's necessary for Taiwan as a secure and sustainable energy source. What do Taiwan's laws say about nuclear power? The country will hold a referendum this weekend asking voters whether they agree to restart the Ma'anshan nuclear plant in southern Taiwan, which was taken offline in May. This has ignited a discussion over the power source's viability and legality. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party is staunchly anti-nuclear. Opponents of the referendum say that the nuclear plant in question sits on an active fault system, putting it in danger. But on Monday, a group of lawyers got together to discuss the legal basis of nuclear power.
2002年制定了环境基本法，它的23条就很清楚的说，政府要订定计划，逐步达成非核家园的目标。
Then there's the issue of liability in the event of a nuclear disaster.
核子损害赔偿法，它事实上对于核三也是很不合理，就是说它是重大天灾免责。 那我们认为说，而且它还有设定说，每一个核子事故赔偿责任最高限额是42亿元。
That cap means affected people within a 30-kilometer radius of the plant would, at most, only receive about $2,300 in compensation. If Taiwan's entire population is ruled victims of the disaster, then everyone in the country would only receive $6 in compensation. In the face of these arguments, though, the opposition is not backing down. The Taiwan People's Party launched a nationwide campaign on Monday urging voters to support nuclear power.
这是台湾能源转型的关键时刻，我们希望所有的台湾人民共同的来参与。台湾的能源政策不能被民进党守旧的意识形态所绑架。 台湾人民有权利决定台湾能源政策的未来。
To the pro-nuclear camp, the plant is about energy security and sustainability.
现在台湾的发电是火力全开，白天是80%以上，晚上是90%以上，全部都是碳排的火力发电。
Campaigners on both sides have a few more days to convince the public before votes are cast, deciding the fate of nuclear power in Taiwan. Patrick Chen, John Su, and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus. 34 local staffers from the main opposition Kuomintang have pled guilty to falsifying signatures on recall petitions. Among them are KMT's Taichung City General Manager Wu Kanglong and Secretary General Chen Jianfeng, who were indicted in June. An investigation found the defendants copied over 4,000 signatures from the party membership list on recall petitions against 2 Taichung legislators from the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. Earlier this year, civic groups launched recall campaigns against dozens of KMT lawmakers. The party then started its own drive to oust DPP politicians. All of the KMT's campaigns failed to reach the voting stage. Just a month after those recall campaigns failed, 7 more KMT legislators will face a vote later this week. And as Tiffany Wong reports, the fight for pro- and anti-recall campaigners continues.
The main opposition Kuomintang holds a rally in Taichung in central Taiwan, where 3 of their lawmakers face a vote to remove them. Those whose jobs are on the line are defending themselves, calling the mass recall movement an indiscriminate attack on the opposition party.
因为讲伊有服务做了好啊歹，真简单，政党无共，立场无共，所以甲你罢免。8月23，有真侪人认为讲过关啦，过关啦。即马上烦恼的，就是咱的出席率。坚强咱家己，去继续留伫立法院，继续来监督，叫一定要顾产业、顾民生。
Just a month ago, 24 KMT lawmakers faced recall votes. But in a massive upset to pro-recall campaigners, they all retained their seats. Public calls to remove lawmakers across party lines started a year ago over the ruling party's inability to pass legislation due to the combined majority of opposition lawmakers. Now the ruling Democratic Progressive Party is involved in the movement, hoping to move voters in their favor.
好礼拜啦，就是咱投票的日子吼，拜托大家一定要出门，同意罢免。
拜托大家为了台湾。 我们要罢免不适任的立委。
While last month's mass recall votes all failed, the 7 remaining this Saturday are still critical to the battle for power in the legislature. If at least 6 lawmakers are removed and replaced with DPP lawmakers in a by-election, that would give the ruling party the upper hand. But until all votes are in, the fate of Taiwan's legislature is still a toss-up. Howard Zhang and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
2 people involved in Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement have been granted asylum in Australia and the UK. Former lawmaker Ted Hui, who's charged with national security offenses over the 2019 pro-democracy demonstrations, posted a notice from the Australian government confirming his protection visa. The visa grants Hui permanent residency. Meanwhile, student activist Tony Chung shared a formal letter from the British Home Office granting him a 5-year stay under refugee status. Chung had served nearly 4 years in prison on charges of secession and money laundering. He fled Hong Kong for the UK in 2023 after his release. China's foreign ministry has said countries should stop interfering in Hong Kong's and China's internal affairs. After several delays, the closing submissions for the highly publicized trial of pro-democracy businessman Jimmy Lai have resumed today in Hong Kong. The 77-year-old former owner of the Apple Daily newspaper is charged under Hong Kong's national security law with foreign collusion and the publishing of seditious material. The case was originally set to wrap up last Thursday, but was first delayed by storms and later because of Lai's reported heart palpitations. The media mogul has pleaded not guilty, and many world leaders have called for his immediate release. Germany's foreign minister has criticized China for what he calls aggressive behavior in the Taiwan Strait and South China Sea. Johann Vadafel made the comments ahead of a trip to Japan and Indonesia. He says China's behavior in the Indo-Pacific affects Europe by challenging the international order. Tensions have been rising in the region as China sends fighter jets across the Taiwan Strait on a near-daily basis and steps up military action in the South China Sea over territorial disputes there. South Korea's defense ministry says it has no plans to suspend live-fire drills near the tense maritime border with North Korea.
국방부는 정부의 한반도 평화 구축 노력을 뒷받침하기 위해서 군사 대비 태세를 유지하는 가운데 실효적인 긴장 완화 조치들을 지속해 나가겠다는 말씀을 대신하겠습니다.
South Korea and the U.S. began their annual joint drills on Monday, an 11-day exercise to counter North Korea's nuclear and missile threats. While the scale remains comparable to last year's, about half of the planned drills have been pushed back to September due to extreme heat and to ensure military readiness throughout the year. U.S. President Donald Trump is suggesting Kyiv cede Crimea to Moscow, recognizing a Russian occupation going back to 2014. This could complicate talks with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, as EU leaders say that borders must not be changed by force. John Van Triest reports.
Ukraine can end its war with Russia, quote, almost immediately. That's what U.S. President Donald Trump says, but adds that Kyiv would have to accept Russia's 11-year occupation of Crimea and cede the territory to Moscow. Trump's statement, posted on Truth Social, comes on the eve of another summit to try and end the conflict. And it may complicate talks, as just days ago, most EU leaders signed a statement calling for Ukraine's borders to be respected and not changed by force. Still, Ukraine and its European allies aren't done trying to end the war on terms they can accept. They've been preparing for a meeting in Washington Monday. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will be there, backed up by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and 4 European leaders. For Zelensky, there are 2 important goals. One is a ceasefire. As he says, it's impossible to negotiate while fighting. But then there's the need for future security guarantees for Ukraine to make sure Russian troops don't come back. He suggests something like Article 5 of the NATO Charter that states an attack on one member is an attack on all.
And this is our main task. We need security to work in practice, like Article 5 of NATO, and we consider EU accession to be part of security guarantees. And we have heard from President Trump that America and Putin see it the same way. So we talked about the EU accession negotiations.
Some in the U.S. suggest an Article 5-like arrangement could work, though the specifics would need hammering out. Trump's special envoy to Russia, Steve Witkoff, had this to say to Fox News Sunday.
It means that the United States is potentially prepared to be able to give Article 5 security guarantees, but not from NATO, directly from the United States and other European countries. That is big. I mean, really big.
But Russia has long felt bitter about NATO's eastward expansion towards its borders since the 1990s. And some in Russia, including Moscow's envoy to international organizations in Vienna, Mikhail Ulyanov, says Russia needs its own security guarantees. As officials talk peace and security, the war steamrolls on. Footage shows the aftermath of reported Russian shelling in the Ukrainian town of Dobropilya. Local police say the shelling happened Saturday, just around the time of another summit on peace talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump. EU leaders joining Zelensky hope to put on a united front and avoid the hostility from Trump and U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance that abruptly derailed Zelensky's February trip to Washington. With tough questions about Ukraine's future and deep division over how to end this conflict, it's not likely they'll have an easy time. Luffy Lee and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Coming up after the break, a township in Pingtung uses flower power to strengthen the community.
Thank you for sharing our passion for food and Taiwan. Veggie Island explores the vibrant world of plant-based cuisine.
Wow, this is amazing.
While Taiwan on the Rocks uncovers the stories and craftsmanship behind every sip.
Have you ever tried Taiwanese beer?
Are you ready to taste even more of Taiwan?
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world, charted by the freest country in Asia.
Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Taiwan's benchmark stock index rallied on Monday, closing up about 0.6% to a record high. The buying spree follows the government's upgrade last Friday to its full-year economic growth forecast. Revised growth now stands at 4.45%, up nearly 1.5 percentage points from May's estimate. Officials say the increase is due to strong demand in AI despite tariff concerns and currency swings. Taiwanese electronics assembler Foxconn is now taking in more revenue from making AI hardware than it is from smartphones. This marks a big shift for the company that made its name assembling Apple's iPhones. 40% of all AI and general-purpose servers in the world now come from Foxconn, where it is the largest supplier for AI powerhouse NVIDIA. The company also announced a partnership with SoftBank to build AI servers at an Ohio production facility for a $500 billion infrastructure project. Foxconn also has plans for new AI server plants in Texas and Mexico. Taiwan's military is planning to change how it classifies drones. Instead of treating them like airplanes, they'll be recategorized as consumables or munitions. The Army says it made the change because drones, like munitions, need to be quickly replaced, so reclassifying them is more practical. It would make it easier to purchase drones and for them to be deployed faster. Officials also note the U.S., Taiwan's main arms supplier, is doing the same thing. In an era of tightening information controls in China, a new book shows readers how to use open source intelligence to study and verify information about the Chinese military. Alan Liu spoke to the author for more.
At first glance, these might just look like propaganda. But surprisingly, it's a useful source of information at a time when China is tightening control on data and resources. When he was studying a degree in music, Joseph Wen began marking Chinese military facilities on a map by watching Chinese state media broadcasts. 4 years on, the map has grown to over 7,000 entries and is now a key open source resource for tracking China's People's Liberation Army activities. With years of experience, he's put out a book that shows, step by step, how to turn scattered pieces of information into a more complete, clear picture of military activity.
其实欧美国家研究解放军，研究公开情报的书，教你怎么用公开情报的书非常多，但是从来没有一本书是如何用公开情报来研究解放军。
One of Wen's most recent findings was the discovery of the POA's new Information Support Force. Beijing founded the force in April 2024, tasking it with joint operations such as combining the military space, cyber, and electromagnetic capabilities. This marks a shift in how China sees its future priorities and the ways it plans to wage modern wars.
那信息支援部队，虽然说不像是海空军甚至是解放军陆军这样子是第一线作战部队，但是如果这些入侵他国的部队或是就是武力犯台的部队，没有信息支援部队的资源的话，它是不可能继续接续作战的。所以信息支援部队其实也是扮演非常关键的角色。
With free and simple tools like Google Earth, Joseph Wen shows that gathering information on the Chinese military is no longer limited to government officials or experts. Now, anyone can identify and even debunk China's often cryptic messages about the POA. Joseph Wu and Ellen Liu for TaiwanPlus.
The 2025 World Games in Chengdu, China have officially wrapped up with Taiwan bagging 15 medals. Our reporter Sandy Chi has the details.
A grand ceremony to mark the end of the 2025 World Games in Chengdu, China, and a celebration for the achievements of Taiwan's top athletes. This year, Taiwan, competing under the name Chinese Taipei, bagged a total of 15 medals, 5 gold, 6 silver, and 4 bronze, ranking 15th among all the participating countries. Among the achievements, the spotlight shines on several gold medals. One highlight is the first gold won in the women's 500-kilogram tug-of-war, a victory that secured the country's 6th consecutive gold medal at the World Games, following a decisive win over Switzerland in the final. The team's coach Guo Sheng says the key to victory is their long-term intense training and their ability to adapt during this competition under rainy weather.
下大雨又打雷，所以我们非常担心选手表现。在下大雨状况下，基本上就打水仗。那也能够在一局一局中慢慢的修正技术、修正动作，谁最早进入状况，那个国家几乎就是冠军。
Aside from the tug-of-war team's consecutive golden victory, another athlete stood out at the Games, powerlifter Yang Sen, who hails from the country's Taiwan community. Yang won Taiwan's 5th gold medal in the men's equipped super heavyweight category over the weekend. He also set a new world record for equipped squat with the 453.5-kilogram lift. His family in Pingtung, southern Taiwan, say they are grateful for his achievement at the Games.
我们真的很谢他的教练啊，让他越来越好，让他越来越进步。 也谢谢他的爸爸，没有他爸爸的鼓励，可能我们也不知道会不会有让他有那么好的成绩。也谢谢生我这个妈妈，谢谢生他的妈妈。
This year's success at the World Games not only shines a light on Taiwan's athletic talent, but also highlights the dedication, teamwork, and perseverance behind every medal. With each competition, these athletes will continue to bring pride to Taiwan on the international stage. Eason Chen, Fu Huahong, and Sanyi Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's National Palace Museum is holding a special event, a treat for classic board game players. It's part of the museum's 100th anniversary celebrations. Reporting once again is Sandy Chi, who was there.
Facing off, each player trying to fence off more territory than their opponent. This is Go, or Weiqi, a game invented in China over 2,500 years ago, and to transport players back in time and deepen their understanding of the game. The National Palace Museum in Taipei hosted its first ever Go competition, one of the events marking the museum's 100th anniversary.
我们在策展的时候，我们想要跟台湾这块土地，或是说台湾的民众更接近。那研究同仁在策展的时候，他们想到围棋的题材。那后来同仁想说，那我们能不能办一个围棋比赛？就是说让他从那个古代，然后连接到现今的生活里面。尤其台湾的那个围棋人口那么多的小朋友他们在学围棋。
Around 300 Go enthusiasts of all ages signed up for the competition, with most of the participants being children.
就是开心就好，然后就来多交朋友。我昨天才准备，就是平常一个礼拜会下3盘，然后就是按时会下，但是昨天才多下几盘。
蛮好玩的，我发现我最老。我从小就开始学了，它提供你逻辑思考的一个机会。从小接触围棋，你比较容易看大局，而不会投入一个小小的地方。通常看事情的话，很快就会知道答案。
Besides Go enthusiasts, 8 amateur players also signed up to compete against one another.
第一盘蛮顺利的，对，就是对手一些失误有抓到。那第二盘的话，就是在对局的时候有一点。过程中自己下的有点过慢，最后就输蛮惨的。下一把再加油。
他是持白子，刚好你从他的衣服可以看出来，跟他。
Besides competing, the players and visitors are also invited to explore a special Go exhibition at the museum. It features over 70 works, including paintings, calligraphy, and artifacts that span from the Han to the Qing dynasties. These artifacts show how ancient people enjoyed the very same game.
这个围棋它其实通常要下比较长的时间那所以通常是有钱有闲的人才会下。所以比如说像这个帝王将相啊，然后还有这个僧侣神仙啊，文人雅士啊，那当然就是跟这些文人或者是跟这些帝王他们的女眷，他们身边的这些女伴这种名媛淑女这个后宫嫔妃也是下棋的族群。
Go may seem like a fun leisure activity, but the game was originally invented as a way to simulate warfare and has long been favored by nobles and generals. The game also has a language of its own, one that carries meaning far beyond the board.
其实文人常常把下棋当成是一个人与人之间交流的一个活动，然后他们常常会借着这个围棋的一些意象啊，或者是他的一些专业的术语，然后其实来就是谈，比如说政治啊，对这个时局动荡的这个感怀。
This complexity and nuance has helped Go survive for thousands of years, with modern players learning the same profound strategies mastered by previous generations. Go is a game with deep roots. It symbolizes philosophy, strategy, and the art of war in ancient China. And this event brings all those elements to today, giving visitors a stronger connection with the game's past. Patrick Chen, PT Zhuang, and Sanyi Chi in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Residents of a community in southern Taiwan have developed businesses revolving around a native herb, giving a boost to the economy while empowering the community. Aichi reports.
This is one of Taiwan's native herbs, huangjing, commonly known as the chaste tree, and is a signature plant of the Liao community in Pingtung, with blue-purple flowers among its sharp leaves and woody stems. The plant is not only a food source for bees, it also brings economic benefits to the local community.
它的花，我们把它让蜜蜂来采。那新鲜的叶子呢，可以加入食材，然后干燥的呢，我们就可以把它拿来煮黄金蛋。
The association sells Huangjing-based products including honey, snacks, and soap. They also hold hands-on DIY classes. Its members come from different generations, with elders passing on their knowledge and know-how, while younger members take care of the business side of things.
大家做这个做到足欢喜的，菜园的那个高度就是不会很高，又不会很矮，嘿，高度好，老人比较好工作，工作过头脑比较有一个工作给他做才不会那个很快失智。
Besides creating senior-friendly vegetable gardens, part of the association's profits are reinvested in care centers and empowering community members through activities that encourage participation, such as collecting and compiling elderly members' life stories to preserve and share.
在这边呢，让长辈去回忆他以前，从出生，然后到读书，然后到就业，然后到娶妻生子，然后到最后，甚至他最后已经迈入老年的一个生活。在这里面，我们找出他以前的丰功伟业的时候，那长辈的一个心灵，也会觉得说，对，原来我也是如此风光过。
With life here centered around Huangjing, people weave the land and human connections together, binding a unique community and local economy with care and tradition. Andy She, NIT for TaiwanPlus.
And thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Finally, check out these wacky cars putting the pedal to the metal at a soapbox race in Paraguay. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.